Napoleon Bonaparte, the Emperor's Final Hours. By 1821, the man who once ruled most of Europe was dying alone on a British prison island, 4,000 miles from France. Napoleon Bonaparte, age 51, lay weakened by years of exile and mysterious stomach ailments on the remote island of St. Helena. His empire had crumbled, his family scattered, yet even in death, legends would emerge from his final moments. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte's final hours, and the mystery of his last words. On May 5, 1821, as afternoon thunderstorms rolled across St. Helena, Napoleon's remaining loyal followers gathered around his bedside, General Bertrand, Dr. Antimarchi, and his faithful valet Marchand watched as the former emperor of the French slipped in and out of consciousness. What would be his final words? History would offer multiple versions, each reflecting different hopes about how a legend should end. France. L'Armée. Tête d'armée. Joséphine. This version suggests Napoleon's final thoughts return to the three pillars of his life: his beloved France, his Grande Armée, and his first wife Joséphine. Romantic historians embraced this account, seeing poetic justice in a dying emperor calling out to his greatest loves. Dr. Francesco Antimarchi, Napoleon's personal physician, recorded only incoherent mumbling and fevered delirium in his final hours. The dying man spoke fragments in French and Italian, mostly meaningless syllables brought on by high fever and medication. No dramatic final proclamations, no poetic last words, just the biological reality of a man succumbing to illness. Within months, the romantic version had spread across Europe, published in memoirs and newspapers that preferred poetry to medical facts. Napoleon's followers needed their emperor to die nobly, speaking of France and love rather than suffering in delirium. The legend served a purpose, transforming a fallen dictator's painful death into a romantic hero's final tribute to his greatest loves. The competing versions of Napoleon's last words reveal something profound about history itself. They show us how history becomes mythology, how facts blur, soften, and reshape into the stories we want to believe, not because they are true, but because they are meaningful. Whether Napoleon whispered the names of France and Joséphine, or merely muttered incoherent words through fever and pain, his final moments were likely simple. Even ordinary. There was no throne, no army, no empire, only a man, confined to a bed, confronting the same fate as everyone else. The man who once crowned himself Emperor of the French, did not die as a god, or even as a ruler. He died as all humans do, weakened, vulnerable, and ultimately human, and perhaps that truth is more powerful than any legend history could ever create. Napoleon's true last words may be lost to history. No transcript can tell us exactly what passed his lips in those final hours on St. Helena, but his legend endures because of that uncertainty, not in spite of it. We are free to choose the version we believe. In death, as in life, Napoleon remains what we make of him: a romantic hero, or an ambitious dictator, a visionary who reshaped Europe, or a conqueror undone by his own hunger for power. The truth shifts with the story we need to tell, and perhaps that ambiguity is the most fitting final word of all, for Napoleon understood something few men ever do, that power does not end with defeat or death, it survives in memory, myth, and imagination. In the end, his greatest conquest was not Europe, but history itself.